trying these scrolling comments on the screen. So as the comments come flooding in now, they're kind of going to scroll up on the screen. So if you're a viewer,
oh shit, that's cool. Just like YouTube.
Yeah. So it's so although I'll be like we tried it the other day on with Glinton, but I'll pick them up and I'll highlight them, but they're just scrolling so everyone can see them. And also, if you're on the playback, so if you're watching this back in hindsight and it's recorded, you don't have to go into the live shit and you can see them coming up. So it's quite good. I'll try it and see how it goes. Cheers for coming on, mate. Much appreciated.
No problem.
I know it's 8 o'clock over there, isn't it? So not too bad. What time do you normally get up in the morning?
I wake up at like between 6:40 and 7:20.
Okay.
My dogs get up at that time, and either my wife gets up at 6:40, feeds the dogs, and I straggle, or sometimes on the rare occasion I get up first. But usually, yeah. First thing I do, Jan, is I get up and there's actually shit coming out of my ass immediately. So it's like I lay in bed and I try to put it off, and I'm like, Lizzie, can you make coffee? And I'm like trying to hold it for 5 more minutes till the coffee's ready.
Yeah, good. It takes me. How old are you?
29.
29. Yeah, it takes me a solid 2 coffees in the morning to get anything out of me.
Yeah, that's great. I maybe eat before bed. Like I eat right before bed sometimes. I think that probably is also why.
Excellent. Yeah, it's Harry Young's back in the house. So yeah, 21. I'll turn 40 in March, so I'm obviously a little bit older than you, but I never really thought about all this shit until Savon came on the scene, and now started thinking about sort of what time of the day I was shit. What Heidi? Hello, Heidi. What's Jakey normally doing at this time? Well, Heidi, glad you asked. Well, I'm not actually, but it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So normally I'm with the kids, but they're gone swimming, and it's a bank holiday over here. We have a spring bank holiday on a Monday, which I think you guys have for, is it Memorial Weekend? Is that right?
Yeah. What is a bank holiday? What the fuck is a bank? Like the bank has a holiday, so everyone has a holiday.
Effectively, yeah. So like when Lloyd's Bank opened in 17 fucking something or other, I think they were the bank in the UK that funded the royal fucking catastrophe over your side. But they set holidays, so the whole fucking country has to have a day off. But yeah, we haven't. They're called bank holidays, just like day holidays. But we refer to holidays as when you go abroad on a holiday.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? So if we said holiday, it would be like, oh, I'm off to Turkey to get my hair done or whatever. Talking of which, do you have much of that over there? The Turkey people with the teeth and the hair.
Turkish.
Yeah.
What do you mean teeth and the hair?
Fight. People go to Turkey in order to get their hair plugs and their teeth redone. You have much of that yet?
No, like that they go to Turkey to do it.
Yeah. No, it's this thing. No, nothing. All right,
my teeth are fucked, so clearly I don't know shit about it. No, I've never heard of people going to Turkey to do that. Turkey teeth.
So it's a thing. Yeah, it's not actual turkey's teeth. I need to get this one done, right? So this front one, that was chipped with bench press. I was doing bench, dropped the fucking bar on my face. I was up here, let go of it. I was in suicide grip. It was the last time I did suicide grip. It went over the top and pinned me on the face with the bar. Broke my jaw.
Broke your jaw.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I got hit in the face with a baseball when I was like 12, right in the mouth.
Nice. Arsenal Sports sent a bunch of dudes. Yeah. Oh, did they to Turkey? Yeah. So for some reason, Turkish barbers are a thing everywhere in Europe. Like Turkish, for some reason, have got the whole barber scene nailed. And now you go over there, you get your hair done and your teeth done. Have you seen how they do the teeth though?
No.
They file your own enamel all the way down, and there's just like these little pegs left of your teeth, and then they create these caps that go over and create perfect teeth. But fuck me, I'd rather have shit teeth. Like doing that.
Pull it up on. You can. You know how to share your screen, right?
Yeah. Turkey teeth.
Anyone non-white gets called a Turkish barber in the UK. So his name could be Jerome, and he could be just a straight fucking hoodlum, but you would call him a Turkish barber.
Yeah. Exactly. Hang on. Here we go. Right. So you gotta be warned for this shit, right? So I'll pull up Google. But you see this one here.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. They grind them right down. It doesn't matter what they were like before. They
What
grind them
the
down to
fuck?
these little pegs, and then they put like these caps on top. Look at this, geese. Look, they filed them down, and then they put these caps. Look at this. What a state.
Oh,
Fuck me. I need to stop sharing this shit.
barbaric.
It scares me that people are out there that find that perfectly normal. But yeah, never mind. We can't all be perfect, can we, Taylor?
No, I'm trying to look up this fucking book. Fuck, I read this book in college, and it was essentially, so I was in this advanced English literature class, and I read this book that was like a parody on dentistry, essentially. And I forget what the fucking book name is called, but the whole book, the whole premise is like, it's telling this story about this horrific societal practice. Fuck off, Kenneth. I've actually read over 1,000 books in my life, you anal cocksucker. Anyways, the whole book is like talking about this. It's talking about dentistry, and it writes about dentistry in like this primal, native, like fucking barbaric way. And at the end of the book, and it's like, yeah, and the whole book's premise is like, the whole book is about American dentistry, but like the way you're reading it is you would think it was talking about some like barbaric tribal practice. They're like, and they fucking break your teeth off, and they fucking do it. They stick their hands in your mouth, and it's just a crazy book. I'm trying to find the fucking title of it.
Mate, but it's like when you look at surgery, like so from like, think of like pirate ships and like naval warfare, where they're cutting limbs off with hacksaws with nothing, and then they just cauterize it, and then they get on with it. The actual end result hasn't changed much. It's just the process in which we cut limbs off and how we do dentistry. It's the process, like the anesthetics and the kind of the cleanliness. That's the only thing that's changed. It's fucking brutal. Like I watched a video of my dad's knee replacement a little while ago. Fuck me, that is horrific shit. But yeah, it's still, when you look at it and you like, it's still fucking brutal. Jon, I'm not sure if Sevi wants Naked Martin's website being pulled up on his channel. I don't want to demonetize it.
Hey, you know what I was thinking about last night? Speaking of Naked Martin. So Sevon put us in a new group with like Jenny Hall and Garrett, and then there's also the locker room. So he's got now a group text that he started with everyone who has a show on his channel. And there's also the locker room. And I've sent so many pictures of my butthole and penis to the locker room, but now there's this other group with 2 women in it. And I'm like, God damn, I'm going to fuck up so bad one day and accidentally send one to that group. So I just have to. So thanks, Sevon. I just can't fucking send them anymore.
Well, we can rename that group. Don't send arse shots or something.
Yeah. Let's actually, I'm going to go do that right now. Don't send dick pics to this group is what I'm going to title that group.
Yeah.
Can I rename it? Actually, I can't. I'm not in charge of that one.
All right. Someone's saying about like, see, one of the questions I had for you was, do you read like fiction, and do you read outside of exercise and health? Do you still do that, or is it something you sort of haven't got time for anymore?
You mean, do I still read?
Like as in outside of the industry?
Yeah, I don't really read. I feel like most of what I read is outside the industry.
Oh, cool.
I would say. I don't know that I read. I mean, I definitely am. There's a precarious balance. I feel like being super busy with Sentinel, my own training and coaching, and the practical application of the knowledge that I have now, or whatever, some small amount of knowledge that I have now. And also spending my time like putting it into practice and trying to continue my education. I do both, but I would say right now I am far deeper into just like practical application, and I have less time for, Like I was on like the fucking warpath to get my L4 when I was working with McCoy, and they still haven't rolled the new L4 out. So, I don't even know what that process looks like. And when we were working together, he was like, I think they're going to change it to basically a mentorship program where once you complete the mentorship process, you're pretty much a shoo-in for the level 4 rather than you just have this evaluation that you take and most people are failing it. So that was one element of where I was, reading and studying and stuff. But most of my reading, like I'm rereading this book series right now that I read maybe 5 or 6 years ago called Killer of Men by Christian Cameron. And it's this historical fiction series about the Greco-Peloponnesian Wars. And it follows this main character who's like this, fucking young Boeotian kid who grew up on a farm and rises to like the top general for all of Greece against Persia. It's a cool ass fucking book series. But I read a lot of like historical fiction. I love ancient Greece and Greek mythology. I love that stuff. But I've also read a lot of like sci-fi fantasy. So like the Dark Tower series by Stephen King's really good. I'm forgetting the other one that I read recently. It's by what's it called? It's like the best sorry.
No.
Wheel of Time. There we fucking go.
Right.
That's a great fucking book series. That has like 13 books. I've read all of Dune, but I like reading a lot of stuff like that.
Do you Wheel of Time,
Every night I have a Kindle. I fall asleep reading.
Yeah. So you obviously value escapism a little bit.
Yeah, I would say that's probably it for sure turns my brain off of other things without a doubt, and it makes it so easy to fall asleep, which is nice. But I feel like the common theme in like all of the books that I read, I started reading. I started when I was, a kid. I started with like, what was the fucking Mateo Alcaraz or something? It was like the Scorpion King. This book, this dystopian book about like a fucking, in the future, heroin farmers and poppy and shit like that and clones. So that book. And then I read Percy Jackson and the Olympians when I was really young. That series, which is like a Greek mythology series, but they're all about this kind of like down and out fucking main character who rises to like be a hero and make something of himself. So that's kind of like the general trend of a lot of the shit that I read. I like that story a lot. I like that, you make a lot of mistakes or you have a lot of problems or you're not very good at whatever. And then through kind of, a lot of hard work and whatnot, you rise to something great. And I continue to read through trying to get into the Navy. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like books shaped kind of who I am almost more than, my parents to a degree. I mean, through like a lot of my most developmental years, I was reading a fuck ton. My dad had passed away, so I didn't have a daddy. So books became my daddy.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how like people get into these themes of like fiction. I can't say that I share your passion for reading as much. Like, do you when you're reading, do you find that you can scan through quite easily? So you I know it sounds ridiculous, but when you're actually looking down at the book, you can go across and it's fine. It just all goes in as and when you're reading it. Sounds silly question, but does that happen with you?
Yeah, I can read in two ways. I can read fast. Like I guess what you're like, I can absorb the information and read pretty quickly. But when I'm reading like the book series I'm reading now, I like try to use as much imagery and like visualization as possible. And I don't even know that now I'm trying to do that, but like when I'm reading, it's like I'm fucking there.
Yeah.
So it really is kind of escapism, and it's so fucking, I don't know, it's really powerful.
Yeah, the reason I asked that, like I've said this to Jon quite a lot in the past, and I think we share this. Like every page of a book, I can't get halfway through without having to go back a few lines and then reread it. I cannot sit and read it as it goes, as it just doesn't, something happens. Now, I know full well that Jon's the same as me. I'm a very visual learner. Like, I've got a very good visual memory, but I am shit with numbers, and like reading quickly just doesn't happen for me.
I wonder if that has to do with the material that you're reading. I get what you're saying. If I'm reading about fucking CrossFit and fitness, a lot of the times I have to do that because it's like I really need to understand the ideas behind what's on the paper. I really need to understand like the theory and kind of etc. But if I'm reading about this fucking dude, Aram Nestos, fucking jabbing a spear in some fucking Persian's neck on a fucking warship in the fucking ancient Greece, I don't need to understand that. I'm just kind of there. So I wonder if you found a topic or a genre that you were just really enjoyed immersing yourself in, if that would be a bit easier.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely hard reads for me.
Yeah. See, picture books I'm fine with. Pop-up books, I'm good with them. But I think the same thing goes for like relaying information, and I think that's why with the industry stuff and CrossFit, like the journals and the articles, you'll go back because you want to learn it properly. So I think so that you can relay it to people, because the whole point in all of this knowledge is that you can then pass it on. That's all. Well, that's all this knowledge is. So that, like, I haven't got a problem in front of a class if someone asks a question and I don't know the answer. It would annoy me that I don't know the answer. 9 times out of 10 I will, because CrossFit's obviously fairly basic. But every now and again a question will come up and I'm like, fuck, I don't know the answer to that. But I'll say, I don't know. I'll go and find out. Then it'll kill me until I do find that out. But I have to speak with confidence. I won't talk about shit that I don't know about. Like, I'd rather just not talk about it if I don't know about it. It's why, like, all the game stuff, like, obviously you guys are well in tune with it. You are a fucking semi-finals athlete. You know your shit. Like, the sport version of what we do, I don't know what that's like. Like, I haven't been there. I can't talk with confidence about it. I can admire it. I can respect it. I can understand it's quite linear in terms of, you know, my Fran time is 3:14. Anyone below 2 minutes, I can fathom what that is, but I can't talk from experience. So within all of these shows and everything that we're doing, like, I only want to talk about, actually talk, like, you know, discuss from a viewpoint of knowledge rather. And that's why, like, people like you are awesome to have in the sphere, because you sort of branch those two things. Greg started talking to me the other day about Annie Sakamoto and about how unique she was, where she was just one of the best CrossFitters on the planet, but at the same time she was an insanely talented trainer and has then carried on to go to. I think you're probably a good example of someone that branches those two as well, fairly, you know, pretty well, to be fair. But my question to them was, is it possible that the best of the best, like the elite, the Matt Frasers, the Rich Fronins, the Annie Thorsdals, are they the modern games era athletes? Are they capable of being the best coaches and trainers in CrossFit? Because across the sports, like, I can't think of many at all that offer that have been.
I think no, because we've evolved to a point where you have to be so good at either to be coined the best, that spending enough time on each of those different disciplines to become the best would naturally detract from the other, or vice versa. So like, Matt has to be so obsessive, and Rich too has to be so obsessive to be actually the best, to have the most work capacity across broad time and modal domains. He cannot possibly be as good as the best coach at teaching an athlete movement, because it takes so much practice and discipline to do that well. And if you're doing one or the other the best, it's detracted from either. And I think that's why I'm a bubble athlete and a decent coach, because I'm not the best. I'm not absolutely the best at either, but I'm pretty good at both.
Yeah, but like CJ said about, do you have to be able to do Fran and substitute to discuss the sport? And then unlikely. I'm not saying that I can't talk or discuss the sport, but I think this may be a cultural thing. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought this through much, but I don't want to talk with authority and offer a strong opinion on something that I haven't myself got one on. It seems like everyone with a fucking microphone will give their opinion really strongly on Instagram and online, but without actually having a foundation of basis of knowledge in order to look at that. I've witnessed and I've coached people doing Fran around the 2-minute mark, but I haven't done it myself. I know how they get there. I know what that is, but I can't. I'd rather them talk about what they did to get there and me learn and then be able to relay that information. But what I'm trying to say is, CJ, that I don't want to talk as if I've done the work and the experience. I'd rather someone else talk about it.
You don't want to be like John Young.
How did they get on? Have they done the whole grid thing yet? Was that today?
I think they did it yesterday. John said they got their fucking ass pounded. So
was Colton on their team?
No, he is, but he didn't do yesterday's. I think he's only doing the one in Dallas or Texas or some shit like that.
Okay.
Here's the part.
Fuck off. Sorry, not you.
Here's the part. I get what you're saying, but that could be like then no one other than Matt Fraser. I mean, you could take it to an extreme and say that no one other than Matt Fraser has the authority to speak on the sport because he's won the most. And I know that's not what you're doing, but you can take that approach and run it to an extreme. And I feel like almost you're running it to the opposite extreme where you don't have as much experience. You don't want to talk on it at all. And this, I don't know. I mean, you do have a lot of experience. You coach a lot. You've been doing CrossFit for a really long time and you have fucking eyeballs. Like you can see things. You're clearly not retarded. Maybe. Mostly.
Does anything, like one of my questions was, does anything really fucking annoy you? Like the little noises or sounds, people like eating loudly. Have you got any like little like fucking things that really annoy you, or are you fairly placid with little things?
That was such a change in direction of
I know. I'll loop it back. Back.
So I take that's one of your pet peeves.
Yeah, idiosyncrasies. Yeah.
I don't know that I have idiosyncrasy. I'm sure that I do. If I don't know you, like I don't know you very well and you're kind of in public, and this is kind of fucked up because sometimes I do it, but if I don't know you very well and you're in public and you fucking fart like crazy loud in front of a bunch of people you don't know, that's like just gross to me. But meanwhile, the other day walking to the grocery store, like there was this lady behind me and I knew it was going to be funny. And I was with Lizzie. And she, like, you know, you walk to the grocery store and there's like this raised bin with like ice in it. And there's like the 2-for-1 fruit. And Lizzie stops. She goes, "Oh, watermelon 2-for-1." And this lady's right behind me. I just keep walking and I go, "Wah!" And I just crank one as the lady's like even with Lizzie. And I just kept walking. And so that would be like crazy fucked up. I would if that happened to me, I'd be like, dude, that guy's a fucking dick. But
hypocrisy.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, so like reason I said about that was one thing that really fucking irritates me a lot is when people are talking on a matter with so much confidence, but yet I know that they've got no place to talk about it.
Yeah.
And the internet is just, I think like 99% of people do that. They talk, and I've known people that have done that with like setting up CrossFit gyms, and they talk from this experience that they've had and all this wealth of knowledge, and you know they're a fucking fraud.
Yeah.
But then like, and what I don't ever want to come across as is that I don't want people to think, oh, he's talking about something he's never done. And so I just put the shutters up and go, nope, not going to talk about it, because I don't ever want to be that way. It's like social media. I can't do social media that well. Like the whole selling yourself online. I know with Sentinel, that's different because it's a platform, it's a program, it's not you per se. I was going to ask you about Sentinel.
Yeah, so now that you say that, I was actually talking to Lizzie in the car yesterday. Two things I really fucking hate, and I don't think maybe these probably aren't idiosyncrasies, but like the prototypical white dude for Kamala, where they're like a bit overweight, they have like the fucking shaved side of their head and the long hair on top, and they just look gayer than fuck, but they have a beard because they think that's what makes them masculine. Is some fake hair. I fucking hate that. Like it makes me so pissed. Because you're just a societal cuck. Like you're just willing to let everyone's opinions and beliefs fuck you in the ass while you watch everyone get on with life. I hate guys like that. And then also CrossFit coaches who actually don't live what they're teaching people. You're getting paid to teach people in a group setting how to live a healthier life. And you don't know the stimulus of you can't look at the workout and know the fucking stimulus of the workout, or you are just fatter than shit and you've been coaching CrossFit for 7 years. Like, not that being, I mean, yeah, to a degree, if you've been overweight for X amount of time, there's something you're not changing, and you're telling other people this is how to make that change, but you're not making it yourself. I really, I'm really hard on people around me that are in that kind of position of leadership. It's really important to me that you are I mean, my fucking boss is the perfect example of it. He's 63 and has a 6-pack, and he's been walking the fucking walk since he opened an affiliate. And I think I admire nothing more in someone in that leadership position than, like you said, being able to speak from personal experience more than anything. And when people are asking, hey, how do I do this? Well, you can tell them because you've done it. It's not, oh, the research says this. It's no, this is what has worked for me. This is what hasn't worked for me. And you just have all this fucking hard data right in front of you from your own life. I just really, I don't like it when people I get what you're saying now. And I guess I don't think about it a ton because I really try. Me and Andy, Andy for sure also doesn't hire coaches like that. But when I see that, I'm like, man, you gotta people are paying you so much money a month for you to be a leader and to
Yeah. But again, there's different spins and takes on it. Now there seems to be different takes and spins on the methodology and groups within it. So you think from a gym perspective at CrossFit Charlotte, do you have over 60s classes? Do you have specialty classes, or is it just one class across the board for everyone?
Yeah, we just have one class. We don't have any. We have 3 members that are over 80. We have probably 20 members over 60. But they all just take regular class. There's nothing different. So, there's a group of people that do the compete track in the back, as a part of open gym. But they're also pretty intertwined with the community as well. And it's just hey, they're younger or they have a desire to compete. It's I think people understand the distinction between I'm in there to get a good workout and have fun, and I want to get better to do a competition.
So by degree not kind, you feel should dictate that everyone does the class, obviously comp aside.
I think there's a place for a 60+ class in the sense that it can make it easier on that population to feel okay. I would say that population, maybe more than any, has this massive mental block into walking into a gym because they're I can't do that. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that. So I think if you have a class of those people and it makes them feel comfortable and they're in the right place for them, then yeah, there's no reason not to have that class. But I think for whatever reason, we've been able to do a good job. And it started with just one person that was that age. And then another person would come in and think about trying, and you'd be able to point to that other person and say, hey, they're doing it. So can you.
Yeah.
So I think there's a place for it.
Yeah. I'm just thinking from the experience that I've had through CrossFit. So when I started, I was 26. I'm 40 now. So as a 26-year-old, I had a very different take on the way that CrossFit boxes should work and operate as opposed to now as a 40-year-old, having been doing it for that amount of time. Having been an affiliate owner, 2 for a while, and gone through the physical changes, adaptations, and everything. My take has changed somewhat in so much as I've been made aware of the different mind states of different parts of society. So although I do 100% agree with by degree not kind, I think that should be the end result for people to get into the classes. It's by degree not kind. The over 60s class that you guys have built, I know Heidi just said she's got one. I think like Dale King, like his gym with getting like addicts and ex-addicts into the gym in an environment, you know, training together and being it's slightly differently than a regular class. There's certain pockets of people that I think probably should have their own environment for whatever reason it might be,
Right.
to allow them to then take the steps towards getting into the workouts. And that's changed. Initially I was like, no, this is degree. When I did my L1, it was no, by degree no kind. You come in, if the coaching's good enough, the coach will be able to scale for everyone. They'd have done enough prep work beforehand, whether it's an 8-year-old or a 16-year-old elite gymnast. Everyone comes in, does the same session. That's cool. But the environment and the motivation to be there and to train isn't necessarily going to be inbuilt into that individual. I think we need to allow them to have the opportunity to build up that confidence. It's like Athena's like Scaled Nation. That's a fucking godsend for people. Like she had this lady that had to be brought to the gym in the back of a fucking ambulance every time, hitched out of it, rolled into it on a wheelchair to allow herself to just do burpees to a box. And for the first 6 months of her training, she wouldn't have been able to do that in a regular class. So there's different, I think that's just one example, but there's these different pockets of societies that as we've grown as an affiliate base and as a community, I think that the allowances we have to make for the initial steps, at least to get there, with the proviso that the goal is to get there eventually, not just settle for these unique classes, speciality on their own forever. I want the community to be the community. But my take on that has definitely changed over the years. But yeah.
I don't know that I've ever had an opinion on it, and that's what I'm in agreement with you, and that's what I meant by that. I think we got lucky in the fact that we had one 80+ athlete that had the balls and wanted to be in there, regardless of the group that was around her. And because of her, we've been able to point to her when other people of that age are coming in. And so it's been easier for us to have that. But like I said, I think anything that allows someone to say, oh, this is for me, you know, I am going to be okay here. Yeah, I think that's fine. But I also don't think that changes what you're teaching them in a class. It's just like what you said. It's just the ability to look at those around you and compare in, rather than saying, oh, this is why I'm different. This is why it won't work for me. You know, I'm different than all these people. You're just giving people reasons why it won't work for them, even if they're created in their mind. So if as many of those reasons you can take away, I think is great for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. The more affiliates that I talk to, like this series that I've kind of had, where I've been talking to affiliates around Europe, like I know that everyone, including fucking Ord, she thinks that everyone in Europe knows each other and we talk to each other and we're the same people. But like the difference between like me, where I live, compared to someone in France, Germany, Holland, Belgium, Ukraine, like it's twice the population of the US, but in a land's mass the same size. Like the cultural differences between each country is fucking mind blowing. Like where I live compared to Pedro in Ireland, I'm a 20-minute flight away. Culturally, it's completely different and unique. But the one thing that we have in common with everyone I speak to is in the affiliate, it's run the same. Like the affiliates all run the same. So it's lovely to be able to communicate with this language of CrossFit that we have.
What is different? What's different about the Isle of Man and Ireland?
We're more pro-England.
Okay. So Ireland, like your white nationalists?
Yeah. Exactly.
Sorry, bro. I can't make jokes like that here.
No. Please do. So like, so the Isle of Man is like halfway between. It's like it's a tiny island in the Irish Sea, somewhere between Ireland and England. And there's this history of about well over 1,000 years of like Viking ancestry being on the island. It was their base during the raids and everything. So the Isle of Man's got this like Viking heritage, it's Celtic heritage that associates itself with Ireland quite a lot. However, we were owned by the English and the British Crown for the best part of 800 years until about 200 years ago. So we've got this association with England, and Ireland fucking hate the English because of the royals and the history there. So culturally, it's just very different. And Ireland is still in the EU and England aren't. So there's a lot of like to and fro in there. But yeah, it's not to say people are different. Wherever you go, people are pretty much the same. They've just been taught different ways of getting through life.
Fat retarded, you mean? Like that's most
Yeah.
people. Hey, it's chill, dude. And you look on the globe. Actually, I'm not sure how fat and retard. Well, I'm not sure how fat East Asia is. Like India and China, I don't think they have as much of a weight problem, do they?
No, because a lot of them are in poverty.
Hmm.
So you tend to find that obesity is a first world problem.
Right.
But
Do you know
Japan, yeah, sorry.
Do you know in America, our food production produces like over 10,000 calories a day per person. And for them to keep making money, you have to like people have to eat that, or you have to sell it to grocery stores, and there has to be a high amount of food waste. If you're eating 10,000 calories a day, you're going to be fatter than fuck. So it's either if you're this company, if you're big food, either people are getting fatter than fuck, or stores are committing abhorrent food waste. And those are kind of the only two outcomes of that. But your production is 10,000 or more.
What's the remedy to that?
I mean, I hate to my first gut instinct is regulate that industry and say, hey, you can't make this, you can't make all this fucking food. We're not eating it. And if we did, we'd be fucking disgusting. But I hate tossing around government oversight as like a solution to anything. But like what, I don't know. The hardest solution is like educate people so that they know like, hey, we're not going to buy your shit and there's less demand for it. And the company's like, well, fuck, no one's buying it. We can't make that much anymore. But people are retarded. They're just going to fucking buy it and get fat. So I don't know what the solution is. That's
exactly right. You diminish the demand for it and the supply will go away. It's basic economics. It's one of the things that really fucked me up. One of the many things that fucked me off about the COVID and the lockdown, especially when I was an affiliate owner, was they had this fucking prime opportunity. Instead of some fucking old prick coming on and preaching to us about how many people died that day and how we're all going to fucking stay at home, they could have put out insane amount of information to how to cook, how to get your recipes in. They could also offer discounts to the industries that needed it, like farming and natural whole foods. But instead, they got 50% off vouchers for fast food chains that had been key workers and could stay open and employed the whole fucking time. Whereas the gyms and the farmers were fucked over and no one learned anything. People regressed with nutrition. They had this perfect opportunity to talk about it. The gyms did our part. We tried, but it was this good opportunity that they missed out on. And it's just follow the money, like everyone talks about. Everyone in the industry that we know, that we respect, talks about it. You just follow the money, and you end up with that's how you get the answers that we're given. Blanket told.
So Isle of Man. I'm gonna make this simple for people like me. It's like the Texas or like the fucking Florida of the UK. Like it's conservative. It's people. It's you have national pride in your culture and your own sense of identity. It's you're not like fucking Minnesota's being taken over by fucking whatever. It's just it's not like you guys aren't adopting foreign culture to the point to where you're destroying your own society.
No, so it's funny because Savon talked about the South African thing, and it was obviously the president of South Africa was with Trump the other day, which I thought was quite funny. The Isle of Man, there's a population of 85,000 people on the Isle of Man. That's it. It's quite small. Now we've got nearly 700 people doing CrossFit on the island, so we've got quite a high percentage actually of the population doing it. Now in the early 90s, the island set up this visa scheme with South Africa and for direct workers to come across. We've got about 10,000 South Africans on the island out of 85,000. And the majority of them are white. So you've got this mass migration away, and it's all in the tech industry. The reason they come over here is because we're a tax haven. There's no corporation tax. There's no inheritance tax. The tax rates are really base low. Obama fucking hated the Isle of Man. He wanted to cancel us. That's true. He talked about the Isle of Man and wanted to shut it down and stop trade with it because of the tax thing. But we've ended up with this really cool culture on the island that really celebrates national pride, and the flags are everywhere. And in comparison to like England, let's say, although there is a bit of a bounce back at the moment, that you see the Union flag going up, especially in London. And I think the political parties have realized that people actually, with Trump, this is all Trump effect. It's all Trump effect. But it's become completely acceptable and celebrated to have pride in your country again. And
it's wild. It's wild that if you're fucking from the UK or America and you show national pride, racist.
Yep.
But you can come from Mexico or El Salvador or Africa or wherever, and you can fly that flag and you're celebrated as some sort of fucking cultural hero. What the fuck are you talking about? That's insanity.
Yeah. And I mean, the UK's got about, I think the population of the UK is about 70 million. So it's obviously quite a lot smaller than the US. But things can turn very fast in the UK. Like things can go pivot really quickly because of the size of it and the way that our government's set up. And recently we had a vote for councils, so it'd be like the equivalent of like I don't know, like kind of thing. Now the guy called Nigel Farage, who's like he's trying to be like Trump. He's not. He's like this tough, posh English guy that talks like he's working class, but he's actually trying to adopt a lot of the policies that Trump, used to get in over there. And it's fucking working because they're a new party, that the Reform UK are this brand new party in the last year. And they've just actually taken the councils by storm, and they've taken over like 600 councils or something silly, like council seats. And it's shown the government, because we've got a two party system in theory. Like we haven't, but it is basically like you guys. And both of those parties are absolutely on their knees now, and they're having to adapt and change and do things differently. And this is all because of Trump getting in, and all because the zeitgeist, the rhetoric, everything online, all the media, people are coming out and actually taking pride in their country and wanting to be able to give off this pride. And it's good. It's a beautiful thing when people actually celebrate in the country that they live in. That sounds nuts.
Do you Do you think that Ant Middleton guy will get elected for London? Is it mayor?
I mean, maybe he seems like a good enough guy. He seems like a down to earth. He was in the SAS, so he was like the equivalent of like a Delta Force, I guess, or Navy SEAL. He talks really well. He's written these books, about himself and his life, and I've read one or two of them. He seems like an all right guy, but I think the reality of being a politician and the system that's in place is very, very different from what people think it's going to be before they go in, if you know what I mean. And I'm not sure if him going into that world will be as easy as he thinks it is. But I'd rather someone like him be in it than someone that I don't think has got the greatest of intentions for the working people. So
I think that happened with Trump his first term. He had kind of the same beliefs and ideas and desires to take the country in the same direction that he has now, but he had no idea how the system worked, and he just got ass fucked by it. And I think that's why he was so, he wanted to run, even though he lost his second term so much. Like he was so much more kind of fucking into it. The third time around was because he's like, man, I really got ass pounded. Fuck that.
And
I was just gonna say, I'm very, I don't want to say very fearful. I don't like wake up in the morning thinking about it, but I do think that the next election is going to be a massive pendulum swing in the opposite direction. I think it's just going to keep going like that. It's like Joe Biden, full fucking retard with cancer and fucking has no idea where he is. Trump, everyone thinks he's a white nationalist racist, and it's going to go fucking Kamala Harris again, and then maybe JD Vance, and it'll just keep fucking pendulum swinging. I don't know. I just
unfortunately, that's just politics in general. When you've got a two party thing, it's going to go left right. But I think what needs to happen, unfortunately, it's like any ongoing conflict. If you see it as conflict, you'll understand why. You look at Israel Palestine, you look at Russia Ukraine, you look at anything throughout history. When there's two parties involved, it's always they always say we're in this state because of the last people, we're trying to fix it. And then the next people come in and they say, it was the last people, we're trying to fix it. What it takes is someone to just take a step back and go, do you know what? We need to meet in the middle here.
Yep.
Here's what we need to do for genuine progress. But the way, especially with the likes of social media, and there was that documentary on Netflix a while ago about Facebook and how they push people with algorithms to the left and the right. It's going to take at least one of the parties, especially in the US, let's say, to admit that they're not perfect. They've done things in the past that they're not proud of, yet they're willing to meet in the middle. Some acts are good, some acts are bad. We need to work together on this. And from what I can tell, the Republican Party did that to some degree over the last sort of few years, rather than just going really hard right or hard left. Someone needs to be fairly central in order to stop it from going hard left, hard right, pendulum. Do you know what I mean? Until you've got a party. And I think that's just the way that politics has to go. To draw it back towards the middle, you have to go further to the other side.
Yeah. I think what's a challenge in our country, or at least and probably everywhere, but definitely, at least from my perspective, it's that people are so willing to believe that hey, Trump and his cabinet are gonna like fucking save us, and I'm fucking guilty of that, or Biden and fucking mutilating kids' genitals are gonna save us. And there's this fucking blindness towards they're all just getting fucking dead rich off of us, and we need someone who doesn't really give a fuck about getting rich off of, because at the end of the day, what day-to-day life for us is not going to change much until we're not fucking paying 30% of our fucking income to this big bloated beast that's doing nothing for us but telling us what to do in fucking ways we shouldn't be told what to do.
One interesting thing that I'd like to hear your take on, and I know a couple of people when Trump started talking about pulling out of Ukraine and not helping, a lot of people in this chat, especially because you guys are the only Americans that I really have talked to and that kind of thing, a lot of the Seven-Easters, and they tended to agree. Everyone was kind of, and it surprised me a little bit, because in all the media that we see historically, like I said, I'm 40, since the mid-90s, it's always been America's the savior of the world. America will come to your country and save us. And then you had the negative side of it of, oh, they're only doing it so that they can get the natural reserves. They're only doing it because of the industrial war complex. They're only doing it because of this, that, and the other. So you've got those two sort of ends of the spectrum. Now, when Trump said about pulling out of Ukraine, the narrative that a lot of people that I talked to in here said, yeah, we want to come out. And I was like, oh, Americans don't want to be at war all the fucking time, saving the planet. So from your opinion, if America said right now, or the government said, right, we are pulling out of all conflict, we're reining it back in, we're bringing everyone home, and we'll just deal with the borders. Like the world can go fuck itself. Like you deal with yourselves. Do you think America generally would be in favor of that, or is this built into the national pride of being that power that will save day?
I think most Americans would say we don't want to be the referee for the world. We don't want to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking retarded in this, but I hate when people tell me what to do more than fucking anything. So why the fuck would I want my country to be known for telling everyone what to do? I don't give a fuck about that. So I think a lot of Americans would for sure be in favor of things like pulling aid away from Ukraine and pulling aid away from Israel, whatever. Like, we just stop. We're not even giving our money to fucking hurricane victims 90 minutes away from my own fucking house, but we're sending billions to Ukraine and Israel. What the fuck? So I think most people in America who have any bit of common sense are for that. There are people like, and this is the white dude for Kamala and typical the white liberals who have more privilege than anyone. They're richer than fuck, but they're so retarded. They think that like those billions of dollars they're sending to Israel and Ukraine are going to the people on the ground. They're not smart enough to understand it's just lining Zelensky's pockets and things like that. So that those people, I don't think you change their mind, but what I do think is it's always a slippery slope, because I don't think in anything in the world there is a maybe that's not true. I think in most things in the world, there is not a hard black and white. And I think for global conflict, we shouldn't be using the war in Ukraine to fund, the industrial military complex. And it for sure does that. And we shouldn't be involved in conflicts like that. But meanwhile, we need an aggressive approach, a precise aggressive approach. I think if there's any room for us to be involved in, America's enemies abroad, it's with things like special operations where you have the precision and you can do things on a small enough scale and you can instill enough fear in your enemies to make them second guess and to also destabilize any sort of like rallying of opposition that they might surmount. I don't know. I think so. Not large scale war, not large scale funding of war, but hey, if we know there's a terrorist cell in this part here, we can send 6 guys in. And if they get there and it's a bunch of fucking kids in a garage, they're like, okay, we can pivot. But if it's fucking Osama and all his homies jerking each other off, they can fucking blast them. I think there's space for that, but I don't know. I also am not an expert.
No, exactly. And do you think, like, if you think about Hollywood, about the narrative that comes up Hollywood historically, it does suit that culture of America is there to save Captain America, we'll travel, right, we'll defeat the enemy on the behalf of other people, we'll save the world. Hollywood's done a very good job since World War II of doing that and reiterating that message to the American people. Do you think Americans generally are aware of the propaganda and the fear mongering that the government have done to encourage that type of mindset of we're the saviors of the world? We need to have a big army. We need to recruit. We need to send people abroad. We need an industrial complex. Do you think the average American is aware of that?
I don't. I think I'm aware of it because I have 2 like very specific things that I always like come to mind when somebody says propaganda. One is my mom used to tell me how when she was a kid, they would do like emergency drills in schools for if the communists invaded, and how she would like, how you hide under your desk for a hurricane warning, like that, but for communists. And she would have nightmares about communists like taking over podunk small town South Carolina. They don't give a fuck about, like, that's never going to happen. And when I was growing up, I used to have this nightmare, the same recurring nightmare that Osama bin Laden was marching down our street with a fucking torch and tanks behind him. And like, we're hiding in the backyard. And that's fucking 100% government perpetuated. Like, Osama's a poor fucking Saudi guy in a cave in Pakistan. This guy's not invading the United States. Yeah, the guy needs to die, but the media and Hollywood did that. And think of how many, and because of that fear, I'm like, oh, go to war, please. I don't want that nightmare to come true.
Yeah.
I would say most Americans are like, you say the word terrorist and they're like, war.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it might be because, again, like I said, my access to Americans is via CrossFit, right? So you think of the average CrossFitter, they're hardworking, they've usually got their head screwed on, and they know what they're talking about, and they're pretty chill because they exercise those demons every day out of them. So my access to Americans is like you guys and the Sevenista chat and everyone in here. So everyone's pretty sound and everyone's pretty logical and talks pretty educated. So it's surprising when that isn't the case from people that I hear about. And when you guys, or when Savon brings up clips of people in America talking a certain way, it's like, it's surprising. Do you know what I mean? It's similar to like, if people like the clips that Savon usually brings up from the UK are some bunch of divvies that do not know what they're talking about, that are waving around certain flags and then Pakistani rape gangs. It's like that's so different from what we experience, but the media would have you kind of think that that's the norm.
Yeah.
But never mind.
I think in America, it is more 50-50 than maybe you think just off of your experience with us. I think there's a bounce back happening here, similar to how it is happening maybe in the UK, where I think most conservatives and logical people have this kind of my mom and dad always say, oh, you don't tell anyone who you vote for. They didn't even talk about it with each other. And that's like great. But the problem with that is you can't flesh out retarded ideas because you're just perpetuating them in your own fucking brain. Yeah. And the other problem with that is the people who are really, really retarded are telling everyone who they're voting for, and the people who have half a brain aren't saying a fucking word. And then it, you know, creates this, I don't know, it creates a lot of issues. So I feel like we're having this bounce back where it's more acceptable to say, no, I'm voting Republican. I'm voting for Trump. And here's why. It has nothing to do with fucking race. It has nothing to do with gays' rights. And it has to do with lying and corruption and just, our, you know, all that stuff. But there are a lot of people who believe, like, they think, and I don't mean just like a lot vaguely, like, everyone who voted for Kamala Harris is essentially voting for her based on thinking, if you're voting for Trump, you're going to take gays' rights away, and you're going to take women's rights away, and you hate women, you hate gay people, you hate black people. Like, they really believe that, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, rather than any value herself, it was the lesser of two evils approach.
Right. They don't give a fuck about, but they think that everyone voting for Trump hates them. It's like, that's so not, it's so crazy that they actually believe that. Yeah, it's wild.
My granddad served in Northern Africa during World War II, and he heard this saying from an American.
Mine too. That's crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was an engineer, so he didn't see combat. Well, he wasn't fighting in combat, but he was in North Africa for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So he drove tanks, my granddad, and he was speaking to an American GI or whatever the role is over there at the time. And he brought back this saying of empty cans make the most noise. And so people just that talk a lot and, you know, that bang around and fucking give their opinion all the time, they're the people that are actually empty. They don't really have much content. And that, although I agree to an extent, I try not to hold that too close to heart now because of what you've just said. There's this silent majority that fucking need to talk, that need to be able to have an opinion, that need to actually discuss. Because like years ago, whether or not he's changed his stance on this, but Jay-Z was talking about it like politically, and he was saying you need to let other people talk so that you can, one, either learn from them, or two, correct them. And then if both parties are willing to discuss and debate and talk. And there was a post that you and Savon both did the other day, a story where it was talking about politics and religion and about people not wanting to talk about it openly, but we need to have it.
Right.
And it's really fucking important because, you know, and without getting on your high horse or without holding grudges against people for sharing different beliefs to yourself, it's really important to be able to do that.
I get on my high horse about COVID and hold grudges about that a lot. And I've like, I don't know. I'm so fucking imperfect. If anybody couldn't tell in the comments, I don't even try to pretend, but I'm such a fucking dickhead. But one thing I fucking do so much, and I can't bring myself to stop, and I don't want to, is like sharing political memes that have humor, but also a lot of truth to them. Despite what sort of challenges those might pose to my personal business, just because it used to be so fucking taboo. And I absolutely detest and despise the notion that, like, if I say something that I think is funny and that also has truth to it, people will fucking cancel me, or you can't talk about this, can't talk about that. Fuck that. So I share every fucking meme that and Trump fucking post I possibly can. And sometimes I'm sure it's to my detriment. There'll be times where I make a series of posts. I can look up like, you lost 300 followers this day. Fuck you. I don't care.
The thing is, it's a filtration system, really. You end up with the people that you want sort of following you, and if they carry on following you and they don't like what you're putting out, then more fool them. Like that's their problem. Like it's, you know.
You were going to ask me a question about Sentinel, and so
So I saw, is Lizzie in charge of the nutrition side of it?
Yeah, she is. She just quit her job like a month ago, maybe.
Awesome. Okay.
She was managing like this medical health spa, which when she started there was cool. Like they were pretty holistic, you know, saunas, cold plunges, IV therapy, vitamins, fucking salt room type stuff. And then the doctor on staff, you know, was like, okay, we're going to get into semaglutide and GLP-1s, and we're going to start doing Botox. And Lizzie also just started to fucking hate it. And
cool. Yeah. Guess it. Right, Jon's just said, I had a question ages ago, and I've actually started, Jon. So I'm getting good at this whole thing. I know something. Sentinel's growing. How does Taylor handle replying to everyone that sends in form clips? As I know, beta tester, his response time is great and still is.
Oh, fucking beta tester. Yeah, when I first started, it was like $9. And that's fucking crazy. And also retarded. I was just posting on Instagram the workout and had these graphics that were so fucking ugly. Well, a lot of my day is screen time. So like that is my job, is to respond, but me, Lizzie, and Bryson respond. So that helps a bit. And we don't have 20,000 subscribers. So that helps a bit. But obviously the goal is to get that large to where we need maybe 10 people who are in charge of responding.
Yeah.
That scares me because I know me, Lizzie, and Bryson can do a good job, but would 7 other people do a good job, or would they just be fucking suck dick at it? I don't know. So
is that for video? Is that for video?
Video review, which we get a decent amount, but it's not like everyone's sending it in. You know, if everyone was, not that it would be a bad thing, we would have to work a lot harder, and I'd probably have to hire someone else. But like we get enough every week, and I would say there's probably 2 or 3 days a week where I spend maybe, an hour doing something like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of responses are just answering people in the DMs with questions or in the community chat with questions. Most of the time that me and Bryson spend working on Sentinel is writing the programming and writing the notes for the programming. That is without a doubt what takes the lion's share of the work.
Do you mind if I ask about programming?
Yeah.
So like I talked to Jon a lot about this, about programming, and I've programmed CrossFit for fucking however long. And a few years back, obviously sold my affiliates, and I haven't had to program CrossFit per se as a format for anyone for the last few years. I've specialized in weightlifting and powerlifting, so sport, comp prep, and that kind of thing, which is it's a lot more binary, a lot more easy to do and easy to rectify. When you sit down, when you went from doing it on your own to then having Bryson involved, did you have to change the way that you programmed to suit absorbing him in? Was there a change that he brought that you found developed your programming? Is that how it works? Do both of you program together, or is it like you take the lead and then he fills in gaps, or how does that go?
I would say both of us kind of view CrossFit, where our take on the methodology is, maybe I've influenced him enough to where it's similar to mine, but I would say from the start it was already really similar. The workouts that we liked, the way we wrote workouts. I would say maybe the biggest area that I don't think we disagree on it, but the biggest part for him to learn from me, which I've learned from my coach, is the way I write like strength progressions for Sentinel, where they'll do like 4 week on, 1 week off. And it's a pretty varied progression. It's not just all 5s week 1, 4s week 2, 3s week 3, etc. It fluctuates between movement variations and set and rep schemes and tempos, etc. As a way for people to see progression in their strength, but also get the transfer of skill from varied movements and varied time domains and varied stimuluses. And I do believe that you can do a progression and still have enough intentional variance. Not enough. You still can have intentional variance with progression in your strength training. So I believe that. And I would say maybe that's probably what he's learned the most from me, is writing stuff like that. And it was definitely hey, I just want to have you, sit back and learn, and also offer me feedback or things that you see that I'm missing. So I would say more than anything to start, it was like he would say, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And now it's more so, I'll write a workout, and the first thing I'll do is say, what do you think about that? And I want his opinion. Or he'll write a workout and he'll say, what do you think about that? It still is me taking the lead. But I think Bryson's been working with 4 Sentinel since, January of last year, or, I don't know, January, December. So he's been doing this for a year. I've been doing Sentinel for almost 3 years. And then, right. I think that's right. Yeah. 2025 June will be 3 years. And then I was learning from my coach for 5, 6, 7 years from level 4. So I think he still definitely is learning a lot, but
yeah. Do you have you educated yourself outside of like CrossFit influences in terms of your strength cycling and your kind of progressions there? Is there a source? Yeah.
Yeah, I think my coach for sure, John Main, who's a level 4, a lot of conjugate style of strength training. I'm not an expert in Olympic weightlifting cycles or like powerlifting style cycles, but I think the way John programmed for me was a very conjugate style, where it not in the sense where you're maxing every week, but in the sense where you're changing variations of lifts weekly, but still the same movement pattern, or maybe you're just slightly tweaking the movement pattern and changing the set and reps enough to create the desired stimulus. And whatever progressive overload and phases of a training year, accumulation, whatever, etc., intensification, realization, like all stuff like that. But I would say all of it feeds into my goal for work capacity across broad time and modal domains. And I don't know if that makes sense. Probably.
Yeah, perfect. Because this is the quandary that I find myself in quite a lot. So where I've kind of gone down more of a route of barbell speciality, so weightlifting and powerlifting. I've done like the British powerlifting stuff in 2014 and 2013 with the weightlifting. I've been coaching now. I've taken people to competitions and nationals, blah, 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 blah. The way that we build those specialities is specialize in their training. So they have to specialize to a degree. I've had fairly good success with CrossFitters that just taper slightly and they are able to perform fairly well at competitions outside of CrossFit. So the barbell sports. That brings me to this. Now, I was so happy the other day when you reposted something about Murf prep.
Yeah.
Because and Rambler, you need to do Murf every day for a month. Okay. That's how we do Murf. So PK, PK. We've had this kind of ongoing back and forth with people in the community about the fact that I don't feel if you're following CrossFit and your programming is good enough, you don't really need to have a specific prep for Murf.
No,
it shouldn't take precedence in your training as to be specialized enough that you have to train for it. Kevin Murphy, if your program is building those 3 movements and the running capacity and varying capacities across the year, you shouldn't need to specialize for it. You don't need to do prep for it. You are prepped for it. You're prepped for anything and everything because you do CrossFit and your training program suits it.
The one thing, so I definitely, were you done? Because I wanted to interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree for sure. It's like, hey, if you haven't done an air squat until May, yeah, you're probably fucked. Or push-ups or pull-ups, but like those people forget are fundamental to the hierarchy. The development of an athlete is your ability to move your own body comes before your ability to weightlift. The one thing that I do sprinkle in more leading into Murf is people wearing a weight vest, but it's not for just Cindy and running. Like no. I had compete on Friday, did a workout that was a 15-minute AMRAP of 30 box step overs. No weight, just a weight vest and 3 rope climbs. So it's 15 minutes, 30 step overs, 3 rope climbs, and you're wearing the weight vest for 3 minutes. As I find for me, when Murf comes around, yeah, my squats are fine. My pull-ups and push-ups and running are fine, but spending an hour in the weight vest in fucking July sucks cock. And that probably is the hardest part of the workout for anyone who's fit, is just wearing that shitty fucking weight vest. So if there's one thing I like to do a little more of around that time of the year, it's wearing the weight vest and getting people comfortable with it. But I don't do like, oh, Murf prep Monday or whatever, Tiny Pecker Tuesday. Like it's just do push-ups, pull-ups, squats, and running.
That and that's the thing. So a couple of people like Bryson's just said it, Dan's just said it, someone else said it a minute ago. If you are preparing for Murf and you're going for it and you want to make it your event for the year individually and you want to prepare for it, that's very different to if you're a programmer programming for a gym and not specializing specifically for Murf. It's a fight, and that was my point, right? So if you've got a member that says to you, right, I'm going to do a weightlifting meet in 3 months' time, you've got 12 weeks now, you're going to at least, you can prepare for a weightlifting meet. Obviously, there's nuances and technical work and regulations to adhere to, but you're going to need to probably have a couple more eyes on you when you're doing your lifts, just to make sure and discussions about what you're going to do. But that is when you are doing an event. That's when you're doing a competition standard. It's not in a month's time we're going to be doing a hero workout with snatches in it. We're going to run a lot more snatches you don't really need to. You don't need to prep for it if it's just part of your annual cycle going through. But also with the weighted vest thing, just a question really, how many of your members at your gym actually did it with a vest on?
Who will do Murf on Monday with a vest will probably be fucking, I don't know, 15 to 20 out of the maybe 130, 140 who do it out of the 200 members maybe. So yeah, not all of them, but I'm just talking for Sentinel. So I would say probably a much higher percentage of Sentinel people will be wearing a vest.
Right.
But yeah, nothing really. I agree. Nothing much changes, but that's
right. And that was the thing. People like when people wear the vest for the sake of it. CrossFit put out something yesterday that I really liked. It was CrossFit programmers and box owners preparing for Murf, and one of the posts was all about when to offer people the opportunity to wear a vest for Murf. Who needs to wear it? And one of the criteria that they sort of suggested was people that do 20 plus rounds of Cindy. In Cindy, sorry, they do 20 plus rounds as a rough guide. And I quite like that. I've never really thought on those lines about volume rather than that, because obviously it's 20 rounds is Cindy. So I just think the whole weighted vest thing over the years, like when I first did Murf, like the first year I did it, it was a fucking massive shock to the system. But my take on it over the years, when I did it, it wasn't for time as such. It was, we're having a barbecue after it. We were celebrating the fallen kind of soldiers. We did it as a community. We just paired up and went round together. It wasn't like we're going to try and do the mile in 7 minutes. We're then going to break it up. These are the time domains. It was just fucking show up at the gym. Music's going, shutters open, go for it when you're ready, enjoy it, be part of the community, remember the fallen, have a barbecue after. It was like this tool to bring the community together. And then as soon as it went to the games those 2 years,
the games turned it into.
Yeah, it became an event that people wanted to do as fast as they could, and hopefully not collapse and wobble around when they're running the last mile. But yeah, just take on Murf. One question I was going to ask you that I'm really interested in: have you seen the enhanced game stuff this week?
I haven't seen anything on the enhanced game since the guys went on Rogan's podcast.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, how long ago was that? Was that recent? They went on.
No, that was like fucking a year ago, maybe longer.
Right. Okay. So I want to get your take on it really, because I know we've gone well over the hour that I asked you for.
I don't give a shit.
Okay, so that's fine. So they've booked in now for the actual event, the enhanced games, to be next October, I think, in Las Vegas. So they're putting on this big event, right? The actual enhanced games. But until then, they're running this opportunity for people to break world records that are currently existing. And they've got $1 million prize purse for people that break world records, right? So the 50-meter freestyle swim world record got broken this week by this average. Well, I say average, right? He came 7th in the Olympics in 50-meter freestyle. So he's a pretty good swim already. But compared to the elite, he was nowhere near world record status. He's been on a drug protocol for about 6 months, optimizing his hormones, and he's just beaten the world record that stood for a couple of years. And he wasn't at the top. He wasn't one of the best, the best of the best. I was thinking about this in the WFP, right? So at what point do you see the opportunity, if this becomes a thing, could the opportunity be there to have an enhanced CrossFit games or a version of enhanced CrossFit, so that we just see people openly, when they're coming up to retirement, they're the 34, 35-year-olds that are just, you know, fuck it, I'm going to have one last blast. I can set a record here and get paid $1 million. Are there any CrossFitters that you think would do that in other sports like weightlifting, or like would Hunter McIntyre do that for a sport? Do you think the enhanced games has any legs for longevity at all?
I think anything that's enough of a spectacle and can draw enough eyeballs can have longevity. I think the bummer for WFP is they don't have the ability to draw eyeballs, because what the fuck are they doing? They're not finding the fittest on earth. They're just fucking jerking off a bunch of athletes who want to fucking post about their tier shoes.
Yeah.
Really, that's what it is. And no one fucking cares. So if they were to say that, like, we are going to create the fittest fucking, we're going to create the, I don't know, the most fucking crazy spectacle of a human being that's capable of more of any other human being on the planet, and we're going to let him use drugs to do so, maybe. But like, if it's just, hey, Noah Olson's going to shoot fucking TRT into his dick now, and now he can snatch a little more than the guy at the games, I don't think that's going to draw more eyeballs. I don't think. I also think the CrossFit community, more than any other sport, is like adverse to the idea of performance enhancing drugs, because it's cheating. You know, if the guy in the fucking class is taking TRT and he says he does the workout RX and he beats you and you're not on TRT, you're going to be like, well, you're fucking taking something else.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's wrong of that person to be on TRT, but it's like it creates that. Football doesn't have that. Baseball doesn't have that. You're not like, well, I can't throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball because I'm not on TRT. No, you just fucking suck at baseball. You're not an MLB pitcher.
Yeah.
But CrossFit has that element of like emotional attachment and like personal experience, where I think that I don't know that I see. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, my point behind this was, so originally, before the enhanced games came about, I had this thought, and I spoke to Jon quite a lot about this, was like the Paralympics. So, you know, like you get the people with bionic legs and like, you know, they're coming back and they're, at some point in the future, the technology will go way past what the human body's capable of doing. So a non-biological leg will outperform a biological leg. So you get to the point where they are doing the 100-meter sprint in like 8 seconds. Will that be more of a spectacle than regular able-bodied people doing it in 9.5 seconds?
I don't think so. I don't think their machinery doesn't have the same beauty that the human body does. I think what people love most about sport is this godlike ideal of the human body. Like it goes back to the Greek Olympics and seeing these statues. And yeah, the moniker, the phrase, like that guy looks like a statue, exists for a reason, because they don't look like other people, but they are people. I think that's why CrossFit exploded so much, is you have these athletes with bodies that are freaking insane. But you know that they're just a person. I'm not fucking sitting out here watching, you know, Elon's fucking fuck doll Tesla robot like doing grace. I don't care what I don't give a fuck. It's cool for a movie, but you want to watch real people that are doing extraordinary things. And I think that's what make the pinnacle of sport. Like, yeah, that is extraordinary.
So Chan Fronin and Khalipa stood there. That's the picture that basically got a lot of people in.
And you just know, you're like, is that, and you have the question, you're like, wow, is that possible for me? You see a robot, you don't think, oh, that might be possible for me. You're like, that's just a gay robot. But if you see Rich fucking looking crazy, you're like, damn, dude, that might be possible for me. I'm going to go to a CrossFit gym. Or watching fucking Bo Jackson break a fucking baseball bat over his head because he fucking struck out and he's like the best running back ever. He just fucking cracks this wooden bat. You're like, holy fuck, did he just do that?
Yeah.
Could I do that? I'm a human. Like I think that's what creates the spectacle and the investment in not real, but in human sport and in the human.
And this is why I see longevity for the sport and the fitness racing side of CrossFit is that, like, you look at the 100-meter sprint times in the last 30 years, I think we've cut off about 0.1 of a second, let's say. That will get smaller and smaller and smaller over the next 30 years. That won't drastically change in any time soon.
Right.
All the closed sports, so the sports with like a closed environment, they're always going to be like that. They're going to come to a point where human performance is so narrowed down and refined, it's going to take a fucking superhuman to change it ever so slightly. Right. With what we have at our disposal, fitness racing is constant variance. Like the programming can change from day to day. Mm-hmm. So it's got that constant buzz about it, and it's what people keep coming back to CrossFit for, effectively. Right. And what I talked to a friend of ours on here a little while ago is that I over the last sort of decade or so, we've got to a point where that variance has gone away and it's been replaced by programming that guarantees certain results because of quite a linear path and progressions with cycling, strength, and it's all systematic rather than what would appear to be variety. It's mm-hmm. become a little bit more monotonous than it used to be, you know. So with Sentinel, do you bear the variety in mind and the excitement about training, or is that kind of do you take that into account when you're programming for people, when you're programming Sentinel, the enjoyment factor in the training?
Yeah. 60 is like, that's the getting fitter is the primary like goal of the mm-hmm. program. But thankfully, constantly varied functional movements at high intensity makes you fitter, period. So the primary thing that I think of, and me and Bryson think of, and I say this to him all the time, I'm like, man, I felt really stale with this last week of workouts. I need this next week to be super unique, super fun, things that people don't do a lot of. And I say that like every fucking week because that's what made me love CrossFit so much. So I disagree with Sean. Getting fitter is not the enjoyment factor. If you do 5x5 and a bench press every week, and you're at 5 pounds, you're going to get fitter, Sean, you fucking retard, in a way, but it's not fun at all, you dick sucker. So I really take that to heart, like constantly varied, but intentionally varied, unique formats, things that people don't do a ton of, where it's like, holy fuck, that was fucking cool. Or finishing a workout and you're like, man, that was awesome. I fucking am obsessed with that. And also for the compete track, but to a slightly lesser degree, because there are things, like you said, these athletes have to be prepared for if they're going to say, hey, I want to compete. You need to be getting better at ring muscle ups. You need to be getting better at snatching. So whereas on the compete track, every 14 days, you're going to have X amount of exercises that you're going to do every 2 weeks because you know you're going to see them in competition and you need to get better at them. 60 doesn't have that. They're not going to go 2 weeks without snatching a barbell, but that's just to say it's not like the purpose of the program is to touch these so you can get better at them in competition. The purpose is general physical preparedness and, constantly varied functional movements, high intensity. Did Sean Lenderman say I probably 5x5 Taylor's 1 RM? Yeah. And you probably look like you have sleep apnea too, you big fat strong man looking fuck. You sleep with a CPAP, you pussy.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got that in. Excellent. Yeah, it's a funny one because like when I go in to the box, I obviously know the training program ahead. I know what's coming. I help to some degree write it up. But I do enjoy, and I have learned to enjoy routine rather than, the varied, not random kind of thing.
Right.
I think people confuse the two and want random, but then they get less of the random bits they want over time, and then they want something completely unique. With Sentinel, with the nutrition side of it that Lizzie's doing, is that open? How does that work? Is that like a consultation, or is it a set program that that she offers?
It's just a $50 one-time charge, and you get basically a Google form that you fill out that asks you everything about your life. How many times a day you watch porn? How many times a day you wipe your ass? What do you eat when you're doing that?
Sean, interesting fact, Sean doesn't wipe his ass.
Oh, yeah. No, he wipes back to front.
Yeah. When he sits down, he intentionally pulls his ass cheeks apart and then sits down so that he doesn't have to wipe his ass.
I'm going to try that tomorrow morning, and probably what's going to happen is just shit's going to get on more of my ass. No, she sends out a Google form and an email that asks you every fucking pertinent question about what you eat and how you eat, your schedule, how much you weigh, what your goals are, when you work out, when you go to work, etc. Does your diet look different on the weekdays and the weekend?
Yeah.
And then she goes through that and she writes up kind of a macronutrient protocol or like a quantity protocol for it. So this is how much you need to eat in a day. And then she goes into meal timing. Like, this is how much you should have at this meal, this meal, this meal. This is how many meals you should have. Here's a recommended grocery list or food items that you should be prioritizing. We give them the cooking ebook, which has like 20 unique recipes that we use. And then you get a 30-minute Zoom call with her to go over all of that and any questions you have. And that's only $50, which is fucking retarded. That was our goal is, hey, I know Sentinel for $20 is insanely cheap to get 60, compete in all the notes and access to me and Bryson.
Yeah.
I want this to follow the same approach where $50 is insane for what you're getting and the 30-minute consultation and all that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a tough one, when you're launching something and when you don't know how popular something's going to be. It's a tough business decision to price things up because you don't want to go over the price point that's going to allow people access. But at the same time, you need to respect your knowledge and trust in your service and your product. So I'm sure that's going to be a big deal. Do you know if Lizzie's got anyone internationally on the Sentinel nutrition thing yet?
She's worked with Peter, but I don't know if I count him. He's like, Peter's like a pity fuck. He's like, yeah, he feels bad for us. So he wants to fuck us.
How long should be working with him for?
Just I think she just did his like last week.
Okay, cool. Cause over the last sort of, probably 6 months, year, he looks like he's dropped some fair bit of timber.
I think that started with him doing meat and fruit with JR and then, doing 100 burpees a day as well. But he's, definitely has made a lot of progress.
It's not Ozempic then.
No, definitely not. Well, from what I know, Jake is not kidding. Sean was in disbelief that no one else here spreads their cheeks. I feel like Sean's the kind of guy that wipes his poop toward his balls and gets it on his ball sack.
No, by the way, that was an absolutely true story. Sean told us the other day, and he was absolutely baffled that none of us knew what it was on about.
That's how you get hemorrhoids, Sean. That's why you have these big things like a thumb on the outside of your butthole that hurt really bad. That's what those are from, Sean.
So you said the L4 stuff. So in a few months' time, I'm due to do my L2 again.
Yeah.
For the third fucking time, right?
Just L3. What the fuck, dude? You're smart enough. You're not going to fail it.
That's what I was going to ask you about, right? So I've got a buddy that I'm going to do the L3 with and sign up for it. What would you say is I know I've been on the website, I've had a look at CrossFit.com or what they say about how to prepare for it. What was the biggest thing that you feel that you did that contributed towards you getting through it?
The Spot the Flaw online course, the programming online course, maybe coaching fundamentals online course, and the teaching movement online course. I think those 4 online courses, maybe scaling as well. Those for sure, but more than anything, Spot the Flaw. Oh, and the nutrition one could help too, but really the nutrition one's more just so knowing about zone, which is a bit more unique, or at least it was. I don't know if they've changed it at all.
Right.
The biggest areas I struggled with were questions on cholesterol and health markers. And then the logistics of taking an exam. The biggest thing that helped was my coach's advice to take scrap paper and work through all of the questions quickly one time through and answer everyone that I knew immediately, which was a lot of them. So I worked through the test one time and I went through every question that I knew right off the bat and answered it. And if I was unsure, I marked it down. If I didn't know, I marked it down. Then I went back through a second time. And the second time I went through, based off of a lot of the questions that I knew immediately, I could go back and answer questions that I wasn't sure about and get those correct. And then I would mark. So I would hit those questions I was a little bit unsure about. And then I would make another mark on the questions I definitely don't fucking know. And then I would go through it one third time and I would give my best guess on the questions I really had no idea on. And then make sure that every other question was solid with scrap paper. And that allowed me to fucking destroy the test in like 90 minutes. And I, they don't give you I don't think they give you what you got right or wrong, but I think whatever I got wrong, it was definitely on like, what is the difference between HDL and LDL at the time. I was just not, I didn't know that shit.
Okay. Right. Okay. And do you feel like you benefited from having done it?
Yes, I think it was more so than anything, just a validation of my knowledge and experience. But the real benefit is me being able to say I'm a level 3 and not a level 2. Yeah. And I fucking hate more than anything my boss can say he's a level 4 and I'm a level 3. I fucking hate that. So that's why I want to be a level 4. Oh, that's a big reason why I want to be a level 4. But it sets you apart. It sets you apart. And like you said, when people are like, well, what kind of credibility do you have? Well, hey, I've put my knowledge to the test, and that guy might know more than me, but he hasn't put it to the test yet.
Yeah.
So I just think for that sense, and the fact that you're going to spend the money anyways, that's why I think it's worth doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the L4, is that something that you feel comes with a certain sense of kudos and being able to be called coach, be able to kind of, rather than learning for the L4, do you think the L4 is more of a stamp of approval? So in some respect,
I think the L4 is more like the L2, where you have to evolve and learn quite a bit to get that. I mean, I want to say the attrition rate or like the fail rate was like fucking 90% of people who took the, or maybe more, maybe it was like 95. Like no one was passing the level 4 evaluation. And it was based off of the 6 criteria of effective coaching. And within each had like if you're teaching, can you teach a static position? Can you teach a dynamic position? If you're seeing, can you see a fault in the static position? Can you see in the dynamic phase? Can you correct in the static? Can you correct in the dynamic? Group management, all these things. So you had like 28 effective or needs improvement marks. So 28 areas where you either were marked effective or needs improvement. And if you didn't get 23 of the 28 effective, you failed. And it's just 2 classes you teach and a fucking guy with a clipboard sitting and watching you teach these 2 classes. Effective, needs improvement. Effective, needs improvement. So I think there you had to go in with like a long fucking track record of working toward being the most effective coach. But there were people, I'm sure, taking their L4 who didn't even know what the fucking 6 criteria for effective coaching are. I'm 100% sure they had candidates who were like, well, I didn't even know I needed to see in the dynamic phase of the exercise. So like, I think whereas you go from the level 1, which is just learning what CrossFit is, and then you go to level 2 and you're like, holy fuck, this is so different from how to coach. It's the same as what CrossFit is in the L3, but can you actually do all of it in the L4?
So it sounds like the L4 is more of a practical version.
It's just an evaluation. Yeah, it's just an evaluation on your practical ability to coach.
Do you think you could get people that could pass the L4 without and fail the L3?
Oh, I'm sure you could find someone retarded enough to do it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think so, because too much of the L3 is good old, do you know CrossFit methodology? And too much of it is what's the CrossFit answer. And if you're going to pass the L4, you're going to know the CrossFit answer to just about all those questions. I think I would assume.
Right.
I don't know if I'm giving away anything here that I'm not supposed to be, but like the toughest questions that would relate on the L3 to the L4 would be like spot the flaw questions. Where like, can you see what the common fault in this group of athletes? What are they exhibiting? and that'll give you the most practical knowledge in the L4.
Yeah.
So if you can pass the L4, you're going to get those questions right. And then the other questions are like, you know, based off this athlete's ability. You know, I don't know. I probably can't say that stuff, but I don't think so. The L3 is just like, if you've coached enough and you've done CrossFit 14 years, that you can pass the L3 in your sleep, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And obviously, and for me, it's a case of just finding the gaps in my knowledge as I'm doing the Murf prep, as I'm doing through the L3 prep. I'm probably going to find shit that I've just neglected or not learned about enough over the years, and it will encourage me to do so, which is obviously a constructive thing. I'm the only reason I asked that and was because I'm very good in front of people, very good at coaching, very good at spotting the floor shit, but examinations sort of I'm not too hot at. So I was just thinking if I could get the L4 done, but never mind. That's 10 years down the road. But yeah, cool. Okay, right. There we go. That was all my questions. You answered everything that I had and more. Cool. So what's next for Sentinel? Is there any next steps? Are you happy where you're at the moment, ongoing with programming?
I don't think I'm ever happy with where we're at. I like want to grow. Growth has been very, very incremental for like the past 6 months. You know, when we first started, growth was very, very incremental. And then we had Taylor versus the world through quarterfinals of the Open. And it was like a fucking rocket ship. And now it's been incremental again, which is fine. You know, growth and maintenance are good. It's not losing. So that's fucking great. But I want to grow. I want more people to get eyeballs on it. We have a great churn rate, which is like we lose a lower percentage of people each month than other online programs, which is great. And I just feel like we need people to see it. And once they see it, they're like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Why would I, you know, this is great. I want this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the biggest thing is how to get more people to see it. And, you know, we're not really, I don't have like this fucking great business plan on how to do that. To be honest, a lot of the time I feel like I'm just keeping my head above water, just getting the workouts and the notes correct and in a timely manner. But to me, I think the biggest thing I focus on is keep the main thing. Like if the programming is awesome, if the notes are great, and if the coaching is awesome, people are going to like it. And if we have a good community and we talk to people and we care and want to help, which we do, people are going to like it. So we're just going to keep doing that. And maybe I'll post on Instagram more and that'll get more people to see us. But I have been I pay Peter to do fucking commercials and ads for us, which has been awesome.
Yes.
I sponsor his podcast, which is awesome. I haven't looked into much like targeted ads on social media. I'm very apprehensive to pay a fucking big corporation like that when I could pay someone like Peter to do something that I think is cooler. I really do when it comes to things like that, I'm really careful about who I'm spending my money on. Yeah. Like I have a girl who was doing Sentinel, who's fucking amazing. And she's actually from the UK. That I pay her 50 euros a week to, Great British pounds. I don't know, GBP. That's what I pay her. I don't know what the fucking, it's a little different maybe than euros, but I pay her 50 of those a week to review the notes. And she's amazing. And investing in someone like that is really important to me because it was authentic. She liked Sentinel. She was doing it. Right. And then she offered to help in a way, and that evolved. So in terms of like marketing and getting out there, I'm on a lot of podcasts. I work with Peter. That's what I want to stay with. I don't want this, I don't know. I just feel like the targeted ads is almost like this artificial approach.
Yeah.
What I do think we could do a better job of is posting more testimonials. So we get a fucking DM 5 times a week of people like, this has changed my fucking life.
Yeah.
Like sharing that with other people, I think is huge. So we've been talking about sharing that more and the right way to share that. But also I think what drives a lot of traffic to us are just videos of me and Bryson working out or talking about our workouts. Okay. And we've been really slow on that recently with the behind the scenes for Mayhem and the behind the scenes for TFX and the in-affiliate semifinals and training for that. Mm-hmm. So it's just hard to find a balance. So we'll do more like videos of us working out, like testing a Sentinel compete workout and talking about it. And this is why we're doing this workout, like shit like that. People love, and we love to do that stuff. We just haven't had a ton of time to do it.
So totally agree. Right. So your Sentinel compete track, it would help to have someone like you and Bryson actually doing it, talking about, and this is what I was talking about earlier, talking from experience, talking about you can actually talk from a place of having done it, right?
Yep.
Do you think there's a space for someone, I'm not saying me, do you think there's space for someone that is on the 60 track that is just your average Joe CrossFitter that's coaches that could talk from experience about it rather than an elite athlete? Do you think that there's someone like that?
I'm sure. I mean, Lizzie did we did this series where she went through a 14-day free trial and like filmed every day of her doing the workout. And she's very much, I would say, like the RX to average CrossFit athlete, where she'll have to scale some things, but can hit a lot of other things RX. And people loved it. So I want her to just start doing that more. Like doing one of those a week would be fucking great. That for sure would help. I think just more than anything, though, people like to know that, me and Bryson may be better than like the average CrossFitter, but we teach the average CrossFitter every single day.
Yeah.
You know, we teach, combined probably like, 15 to 20 classes a week in an affiliate.
You have to draw from your strengths, don't you, and what you've got going for you. The reason I asked that was because a lot of the affiliates that I speak to, like that, especially on Two Brain, their socials, their pictures are of people smiling and their community and people doing the workouts that look normal. They're not the elite. They haven't got the 8-pack. They haven't got ring muscle ups like 30 at a time. Do you think optics have to be treated differently for online programming then to like the affiliate socials?
Well, I would say when you're looking at something that you want, which is really easy to do on social media, you're looking more toward an ideal. Like it's sexy to want the abs and to fucking run the sub 5 mile. And you're like, fuck, I want that. And you're much more apt to click buy from the safety of your couch than you are to say, I'm going to walk into a gym where everyone has an 8-pack and can run a sub 5 mile. That's a bit scarier. I do think there needs to be balance. Like, I don't have a fucking 8-pack and I can't run right now a sub 5 mile, but also like people know that I'm a good athlete, but they also know that I coach.
Yes.
And so I think that balance, me and Bryson strike really very well. And we're also really approachable. Like, no one will take my class and say, oh, I was super uncomfortable. Maybe you could find one person in 10,000 that feels that way. And it's probably because they're fucking woke and dumb. It has nothing to do with me being an asshole sometimes. But I think that helps. I also don't I don't ever try to sell Sentinel. I just, hey, like there's a 2-week trial, try it. And if you don't fucking like it, okay, fuck off. That's fine. You don't like it. But I want people to try it. Just, hey, give it a try, look it over. And I feel like majority of the time, people that try it will like it and will want to stay on it.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's the thing I like about people like you doing it. You're what was that matey boy's name? You're quite humble. What was that type's name? The front tail guy. What was the guy that said?
Fucking holy shit, front tail. Bryce. What's his last name? Fuck, I can't remember his last name. Bryce Mitchell. No, it's not Bryce Mitchell.
But the difference between people like yourself, it's authentic, it's genuine, and something just to wrap up. Like earlier on, you said that for better or worse, you started posting like political stuff and whatever. But that's at least when you get people doing what they genuinely feel. You know where you are with people. They're genuine. And it's like Simon talking to Alex Kazan the other day and talking about her issues and everything. He's talking about it. He's putting it out there. He's being genuine rather than holding back and saying, there's topics that we can't talk about. It's just genuine. People see right through that. And I think because you're so enjoyable, you're entertaining, you're likable, you've got experience, you've got the motivation to do it. I think that's your selling point. And I think that's why Sentinel's just gone boom. And also the actual service itself is decent. So should be proud of all that, mate. It's good.
Oh, we are. And I've had like a crazy amount of help. Like I would have never have started it if it weren't for, my boss making me cry in a meeting that we had together, telling me I can't coach all the classes at the affiliate. And then Lizzie and fucking JR telling me I should start one, and helping me with a name at the time. Like all those things, like it's just crazy to see where we are now. But I want Sentinel to be like the household name that Comp Train and Misfits are. Like those programs suck cock. Like and they're not teaching people anything. Like they're also like at every chance I get, I'm driving people into affiliates. People DM me and are like, hey, I don't have much CrossFit experience. I'm like, no, you don't do Sentinel. You need to go to an affiliate. You need to learn it. Or we do like a level 1 scholarship and we've given 3 away. Wait, 4. Yeah, nice. We've given 4 L1 scholarships out, and we've only been in business for fucking 3 years, and 2 of those we actually lost fucking money. I'm not really. It's not like I'm fucking out here just money I don't know what to do with, but like we care about CrossFit, and like so we want to be the household name that is making people's training fun. And it's like it's also CrossFit wasn't started for affiliates. CrossFit was just started for people to have the most work capacity across broad time and modal domains, whether that's in your fucking garage, the YMCA, or an affiliate. And I care about affiliates a ton, but what I care most about is that people want to work out and they have fun doing it. And so, there's a large cohort of people that for one reason or another stop going to an affiliate, or they have a garage gym, or they work out here or there. And like, that shouldn't mean they don't have access to the best fucking workouts or coaching either. And so with the internet, we have this fucking crazy, powerful tool that can take a master coach or a great coach, and this person who doesn't go in affiliate can get access to them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the next evolution. It's not perfect. It's not like in affiliate coaching. You're going to be able to see more things in an affiliate and help with more things in an affiliate, but it's about doing the best with what you have. And I feel like, that's what we want to do. I don't want to talk about it live actually, because I don't
know. Yeah, of course. Yeah. No,
I don't want to give any other businesses my secret, the secret Sentinel sauce that we're coming out with, or that I want to come out with.
Yeah, good. Lovely. Speaking of deviants away from CrossFit, we've got Dave Lipson on tonight on our show on Glinton. So that should be interesting. He was a L4.
He had me on his show, but I don't think he'll ever release the episode. You should ask him why he hasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna write that down. Yeah, we've moved over to Glinton now. They're outside the box show, so we're part of their channel now. So we're gonna have him on Glinton tonight. So that should be interesting. But he's someone that has deviated away from CrossFit as such himself, and also taken elements of it and done the Power Bro and Thunder Bro stuff. So it'd be interesting to hear about that. But yeah, all good. Okay. Right, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And hopefully people took stuff away, whether it's political or whatever. Jon said he'll open with that. So we're just going to go in straight hard left. Why haven't you released Taylor's show yet?
I don't know if there's a reason that hasn't, or he just hasn't yet. David Weed, it's wild that he would make a joke about me being the gay idiot when he wants me to beat the walls off his colon fucking all the time. That's fucking David's MO, is him wanting me to beat the shit out of him from the back. Sorry, David. You're going to have to imagine me hitting you doggy for you to get any sort of pleasure out of your day, you fucking piece of shit. So.
One of my favorite things in Sevon's chat, or Shut Up and Scribble, whatever, is when you're on and David's in the chat. It's one of there's certain combinations of like presenter and like host and then chat that I absolutely look forward to, and that's one of them. But yeah,
you're encouraging him. I fucking hate this guy, and you're encouraging him to come.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck you, David. Anyways,
right. Thanks, mate. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully we can get you back on later in the year if you're free. Chat about L3 shit. Nice one. All right, guys. Nice one. I've got a photographer and a videographer called Jay on from the UK on Thursday, so make sure you join in if you can. Look forward to having you on there. Thank you, and bye for now.
What does FS mean?